Hey everybody, it's Christine. You know, one of the most common human desires and goals is to make a difference in the world, to make a meaningful contribution. You know, we want to feel like while we're here, we do something that matters. And a lot of us try to think of something big, you know, maybe in the form of a career or a nonprofit or some passion project. But, you know, the way we make the greatest impact in the world is really simple. From my point of view, the way we make the greatest impact is when we are out in the world seen through eyes of love and not through eyes of judgment. Now, I had a great example of this happen last night. I was at an event and it was cocktail hour and waiters were passing around hors d'oeuvres and a waiter came up to hand me one and I looked at him and I did a double take and I recognized him. He was someone I knew 2 years ago. We had done a class together. And it took me by surprise because it was so out of context to see him here. But once I saw him, I was like, oh my gosh, how are you? And we started talking. Totally forgot he was the waiter and had to work. He's like, listen, I'll talk to you later. I have to go, pass the rest of these hors d'oeuvres. And I was like, okay, I'll see you later. And then it turns out he was our server at the dinner reception. And I introduced him to everybody at the table and talked to him more and gave him a big hug. And really didn't think much of it until the next morning when I got an email from him that was just about him thanking me for seeing him. He said, you're the first person from my past that hasn't judged me for where I'm at right now. Thank you for not asking me why I was a waiter. Thank you for not asking me, what happened. When I knew him before, he was making a lot of money. So a waiter was definitely a different job, but I just didn't even think of it. I was just really happy to see my friend. And it just shows how much when we see someone, when we really just see them, not for what they do, not for where they've been, not for where they're going, but just for who they are, it makes such an impact on their life. I can think about all the times in my life where I've been down in the dumps or I've been hard on myself or something isn't going right and someone, be it someone I know or a total stranger, has seen me through eyes of love, has accepted me without judgment, and that's been so healing and transformational for me. And as people have seen me through eyes of love without judgments, it's been easier to see myself that way. The golden rule, do unto others as you wish they do unto you. Well, I love that, but I also like to reverse it. Do unto ourselves as we do unto others. As we start to love ourselves more, accept ourselves more, put that inner critic to rest, stop judging ourselves, stop being so hard on ourselves and seeing ourselves through eyes of love, then we're going to see the world differently too. And that is how we make an impact. That is how we change the world. So it's great to think about, the next big thing you're going to do that's going to make a huge contribution. But forget about the form of that just for a moment. And just start today by seeing without judgment. Meeting people, seeing them, looking through eyes of love, and you will start to notice you're making an impact. It is those small ripples that create the greatest shifts. And start with you. Start with you. I know there's probably something right now you're judging yourself or not accepting yourself for or criticizing yourself for, and just drop it. See if you can see yourself the way I saw my old friend last night. Just exactly perfect, exactly where you are. And I guarantee you will start to not only change your own life, but you'll start to create change in the lives of others.